So thank you. I think this is the last the segment where we have three consecutive speakers, starting with you. Then we'll have Abhyuday and then Devansh speaking after this. So I'll put some quotes here, which is basically some survey from PwC in itself. And I would like to get your perspective on what those quotes are. The first one is only 12% of family businesses reach third generation. Just 3% reach the fourth. What are your thoughts on that? Is that what you see on ground reality at when you talk to families and at PwC?
Good evening, everyone, and thanks Anas for being me being here. I think it's truly a factual statement, and while working, my experience of working with various family businesses, what I realize is that when we say family business, we keep on focusing on the business side of it. But if you put in between the family and business, then it becomes family in business. And suddenly the focus shifts on the family side. And this is where these statistics reflects that. We keep focusing on the business, but leave aside the family. And when we don't take care of the heart part of it, the financial numbers don't matter. So if you have heard and said that businesses often don't break families, but families often break businesses. And some of the phenomena which I am seeing while working with various families, which is driving this phenomena is, I think, two mindsets. Is one, what I've nomenclatured is PCPC. So people are driven by power, control, position, and contribution. So if you are driven by those four PCPCs, generally our focus on the emotional quotient goes down. And second, I think what is very, very pertinent and important is communication in the entire thing, which I say communication. And there is either communication paralysis or misalignment. And I would just try to quote few lines on this. Just to define the communication element is, कुछ कह गए, कुछ सह गए, कुछ कहते कहते रह गए, और मैं सही और तुम गलत के चक्कर में कितने रिश्ते बह गए. So this is where I think the fundamental point is that we have to start focusing on the family side to ensure the longevity of the business.
Next, I'll play a clip from Arun Bharatram of SRF. He spoke at a last event where he was speaking about how his family evolved and dynamics and equation evolved across generation. Can you play the clip here?
Let me say, and I think this is a lesson for business families. There are always going to be ups and downs in life, and especially in business families. Everything is not hunky-dory in life. In our family, which goes back to 1889, which is now more than 130 years, and I am fourth generation, my sons are now fifth generation, we went through very difficult times in the 80s, to the extent that there was so much dissonance in the family that the family decided to break up.
So basically, 52% of Indian family businesses, the seniors themselves are barrier to succession. It's 29% globally. What have you seen on the ground?
Very true. And I can relate with what, just try to explain by way of an analogy. So Amit talked about 4x4 relay race, and I try to bring it on the family side of it. So just imagine the father is running with a baton and the son is ready to start, and the father hands over the baton to the son and says, "Bhag beta bhag," but never left the baton. And beta keh raha, "Bapa chodo to bhagu." So this is what is happening in India as well. This is always a difficulty to let go and let go. And I say in this process there are two learners. One is have to learn to let go, and the other is learn to lead. And when you say that if you leave two learners with a car on the open road, then there will be a lot of bumping syndrome. So I think this is where the person who has to learn to let go has to come out. Two things, again, I will say, which in my experience of working with various families is driving this behavior is one, and primarily driven by the mindset. I think Amit also talked about the mindset. Is very critical is the mind is not free and without fear. So डर लग रहा है. Dar of what? Dar. And I was talking to some family owner, so he told me, Amit, डर लग रहा है कहीं accident ना हो जाए. So, and then I told him, sir, डर के आगे जीत है. So it's like the Mountain Dew. And the other thing is that डर in terms of whether If I leave it, whether the business will sustain and survive like that, whether my next generation is capable enough to drive, and dare in terms of what I will do after this if I let it go. So there's a lot of dare which one has to go past that dare and move forward. And this is where I think it is stopping. And this is a lot of, again, the question of alignment, what Amit has been talking about, has to be an alignment where somebody has to learn and somebody has to let go, and then things move forward.
Then next quote is, Indian family business lead the world on values, 91%, yet 52% lack diverse boards and 42% have no women directors.
I think the question, again, it is coming from the question is that I will again talk about on the mindset. And it is also about the mindset and the culture, I would say. And somewhere as family business owners, especially in India, we are deeply driven by an owner's mindset. Main malik hoon. And when you have that owner's mindset, your ability to work like a steward, the ability to work like bring those alignments becomes very, very difficult. And Amit talks about alignment for successful businesses. So how you bring that mindset shift to move from owners to steward, that is one. Second, I think business owners have to decide that it's not they know all. And I just try to draw an analogy in terms of if you have reached a Mount Everest base camp and you want to go to the apex, then the mindset, the skill set and the tool set which is required to go to the apex is different. And at that time, when you look upward, you are feeling again, the dare comes into it. And for that, what people do is to have Sherpas. What Sherpas do, that they help you guide in the thick and thin, the treacherous path, where the oxygen is less and all. So how, as family businesses are building those Sherpas, or those Navratans which help you guide to your next level of journey, to become and reach to the apex is very, very critical. And this is where as country and as business families, we have to move on.
And I really want to ask a PwC specific question. Have you seen AI adoption that high amongst Indian family businesses? What have you seen? Today I was with the SIFI, managing the SIFI, and they said that increasingly a lot of manufacturing business are adopting AI. So have you seen that in your experience?
There's a lot of euphoria about it. But still, that level of adoption which brings real impact has to be seen. Everybody is excited about it and also nervous about it, that what business disruption it will bring, how I will continue to be relevant, sustain, survive, and grow as a business in this new era, the speed of decision making, the speed of growth and everything. But yes, that adoption has to come more deeper. And this is all about, I think again, this is a question of what is right, but who is right versus what is right. Because again, there is a dilemma between the first generation and the second generation, whether to adopt it early, whether to wait and watch what impact it is bringing. So what I say is that it's not about who is right, but what is right for the business, and let's focus on that and take decisions accordingly.
So what is your final advice to the audience here?
So I think Amit made my life easy, and I'm just saying that what is very critical for family businesses is that they have to move beyond the financial capital they are looking at it. Because financial capital can build business, but the other four capital which we generally ignore, which is the human capital, the social capital, the intellectual capital, and the emotional capital, which will decide that these businesses, family businesses, will outlive beyond me and become intergenerational business which will sustain, survive, and take care of the business and the family together on a longer term basis. And this is a phase as a country, what I am seeing, or we are seeing is that as India, we are going through a transition phase, or will go through a transition phase in next 5 to 10 years, whether in terms of ownership, management, leadership. We are outgrowing as families, so families are outgrowing businesses. We are multiple people in the business. So there's a lack of purpose, lack of alignment, how we give that sense of purpose, alignment, and vision to each one of us, and how we give them the pehchan and the identity which they are looking for, so that they move forward in life, and these family businesses continue to work as one long-term institution.
That gives the perfect opportunity to introduce the next speaker. It's Abhyuday General. Would you want to spare a couple of words about him as we...
So I think Abhyuday don't need any introduction, but I think he is a perfect example of stewardship, then ownership mindset. I would say in one line that I have seen and met many next-gen entrepreneurs who are driven by owner's mindset, and I am working with them to shift that mindset. But here is a person who is driven by that stewardship mindset, which creating institution beyond him and the way he's building. So all the best to you, Abhyuday, and welcome to you.
Welcome to panel, Abhyuday. Can I have a big round of applause to Amit, please?